Taboo Talks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Taboo Talks, Unfiltered Debates. Today we're diving headfirst into a fiery topic that's not just scorching the hills of Los Angeles, but also sparking debates around the world. The LA wildfires. Now, on the surface, it's easy to chalk these blazes up to natural disasters, right? Droughts, high winds, dry vegetation, Mother Nature doing her thing. But let's be real for a second. What if it's not all nature? What if the flames burning across Southern California are being fueled by something far more sinister? Human greed, systemic failure, and decisions made behind closed doors. So grab your coffee, your popcorn, or whatever you need, because we're not just talking about wildfires today. We're talking about the bigger picture, the politics, the profit, and the power plays that keep these fires burning. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at these natural disasters the same way again. All right, so let's start with the basics. Wildfires are not new to California. In fact, fire is part of the ecosystem here. Indigenous communities used controlled burns for centuries to manage the land and prevent massive wildfires. They knew how to live in harmony with the environment. But guess what? That wisdom was largely ignored and even outlawed when modern settlement and industrialization took over. Instead, we built sprawling cities right into wildfire-prone zones surrounded by forests that were left to become literal tinderboxes. But here's the kicker. While climate change is absolutely a factor, it's not the whole story. Sure, rising temperatures and prolonged droughts make wildfires worse, but let's not let corporations, developers, and government policies off the hook. You see, there's a dirty little secret behind these wildfires: money. Think about this. Every time there's a massive wildfire, insurance companies, construction firms, and developers are standing by, ready to cash in. Properties get destroyed? That's a green light for new developments. And guess what? Many of these new developments don't even follow fire-safe regulations. Why? Because enforcing stricter codes costs money. And let's face it, profit often outweighs public safety. Now let's talk about utilities. Remember the name Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E? Yeah, they've been blamed for starting some of the deadliest fires in California's history. Old, poorly maintained equipment sparks fires, and guess who pays the price? Not the executives, not the shareholders, the public. People lose their homes, their lives, and their communities while corporations get away with a slap on the wrist and a PR apology. Oh, and don't even get me started on how they pass off the costs of lawsuits to, you guessed it, their customers. And then there's the government. How many times have you heard politicians promise better forest management, better fire prevention, better emergency response? And yet, here we are, year after year, watching the same devastating footage of homes reduced to ash. It's like a broken record. Did you know that in California, a significant chunk of fire prevention funds has been diverted to fight fires instead of preventing them? That's like patching up a sinking ship instead of fixing the hole. But wait, it gets better, or worse, depending on how you look at it. Let's talk about how wildfires are used as a political tool. On one hand, you've got people blaming climate change, and on the other, you've got folks claiming it's all mismanagement. And while these two sides argue, nothing gets done. Meanwhile, the land developers, the corporations, and yes, even the politicians, they all benefit from the chaos. And here's where things get really dark. Have you ever wondered why some fires seem to spread so quickly, almost unnaturally? There's speculation, and I'm not saying it's fact, but it's worth thinking about, that some fires might be intentionally started. Think about how land values shift after a wildfire. Areas that were once protected or off limits suddenly become open for development. Coincidence? Maybe. But when you follow the money, it's hard not to ask questions. Now let's talk about you and me, the everyday people who are caught in the middle of this mess. Did you know that a lot of the burden falls on individual homeowners? If you live in a high-risk area, good luck finding affordable fire insurance. And if you lose your home, rebuilding is an uphill battle. Meanwhile, big corporations get bailouts and politicians give speeches about thoughts and prayers. It's infuriating, isn't it? And while we're on the subject, let's not forget the people who are on the front lines of these disasters, firefighters. These are men and women risking their lives to save communities while dealing with underfunded departments, outdated equipment, and exhaustion. And do you know who else gets thrown into the fire? Prison inmates. Yep. California uses prisoners as firefighters, paying them just a few bucks a day. Once they've served their time, most of them can't even get hired as firefighters because of their criminal records. Let that sink in. So, here we are. Another year. Another season of wildfires. But let's stop calling these natural disasters and start calling them what they really are. A result of greed, corruption, negligence, and yes, climate change. This isn't just about trees and homes burning. It's about a system that prioritizes profit over people, short-term gains over long-term solutions. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to sit back and accept this as the new normal, or are we going to demand better? Better policies, better accountability, better planning. Because if we don't, this cycle is never going to end. I want to hear from you. What's your take on all of this? Do you think these fires are purely natural, or is there something more going on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this video got you thinking, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe to Taboo Talks, Unfiltered Debates for more deep dives into the topics that most people shy away from. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay informed, stay critical, and as always, stay curious. See you in the next one.
Taboo talks, we light the flame, push the boundaries, break the game. No filter, no disguise, we open minds, we open eyes. Taboo talks will carry on, challenging thoughts until they're gone.